So here we go, we're parked up on the grid now, getting ready to go. We got a good parking here, and we'll see if we can maybe even challenge Russell down into turn 1. It's going to be hard with him on the medium tyres, but, you know, I'm going to give it a go at least. And here we go as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and we've gotten away about the same as Russell, I would say. You know, it wasn't a better getaway, but on those inferior hard tyres, I'm feeling like it was a good getaway for us. And yeah, we maybe look about having a go around the outside of Russell there, but obviously has the superior grip on the mediums. Piastri had a quick look up our inside, but now he's coming under pressure on Perez, and that's allowing me to get away, get at Russell. And we are actually closing him down a little bit in a straight line here. We defended to the inside there, and that's going to allow us to be able to go around the outside of him. And we are through into the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix, so that is pretty awesome. Kicking off the season in style, taking the lead of the race. I don't think we're going to stay here. I'm never optimistic about our chances of staying. But, you know, whilst we're up in these lofty heights, I will take what we've got for the time being. Now we're burning the battery. Okay, at least we did it eventually, but Stroll piling the pressure on us. I think Verstappen's going to come up the inside as well. We're going to be through the middle here. Somehow we managed to hold on. Verstappen just was a little bit half-hearted there. Couldn't quite find the position to make the overtake. Stroll squeezed to the outside, and we are going to cross the line to take P5. Well, Valtteri Bottas is really starting to close the gap here. And yeah, you can see that it's just a complete non-contest. He's in a Mercedes, one of the fastest cars on the grid. His teammate is looking to challenge for the championship, you know, defend his title. But that is going to be quite difficult when he's all the way down in like P15 or wherever he is at the moment. You know, Russell really going to be having a hard time of things as Hulkenberg makes his way through now up into P10, I think. And we make a big dollop of contact with him there. But, yeah, somehow we don't get damage from that. I really don't understand how I got damage from that. How on earth did we manage to avoid the damage from that contact with Hulkenberg? I will never know, as we come under pressure from Tsunoda there as well. Yeah, very fortunate to avoid damage. Unfortunately, I just cannot get ahead of Russell there. And, yeah, that is going to be probably P14 on track. We'll see now. Maybe anything can happen. Probably not. We crossed the line, and it's going to be P14. So, yeah, that is a pretty disappointing race for us. You know, I wanted to be at least top 10, but unfortunately, I just don't think we had the pace today. Even on the mediums, we couldn't seem to do it. Valtteri Bottas, driver of the day, he did a pretty good recovery. And, yeah, disappointing race all round. Lap 18, Magnussen and Ocon ahead are battling. That's holding up Albon a little bit. And now I'm going to try and go for an opportunistic move around the outside into the final couple of corners, switch to the inside. And we've gotten ahead of Albon up into P7. I knew I had to do it at some point, and eventually we did manage to pull off the overtake. So I'm very, very happy with that. But this battle between Magnussen and Ocon has held them up quite a lot. It's allowed me to catch. Magnussen goes deep. Ocon has to go slowly to avoid him. And that allows me to make the overtake on both of them. Somehow I get away with it, despite the fact there was a yellow flag there. I feel like definitely the game should have asked me to give the positions back. But it didn't say so, so I'm not going to. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that overtake. As we go to the detection point, I think I was over a second ahead. So this should be absolutely fine. And we're going to round the final corner. And yeah, we started P5 and we finished P5. So I'm pretty happy with that. Another 10 points to add to our total this season. Obviously, we had a P5 in Bahrain, no points in Saudi Arabia. So that puts us on to 20 points. And I am very, very happy with that. Stroll, despite the fact he couldn't get me, he still got driver of the day. So I don't think he'll be too miffed. And yeah, great race. You know, I just want to hold on to as many positions as I can. But like I said, I'm in no illusions about whether we're going to win this race or not. But we'll see what we can do as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and we've had a pretty good getaway given that we're on the medium tyres compared to those on the soft compound tyres around us. But Lance Stroll is putting us under pressure, and immediately he comes through up the inside as we go through the first couple of corners. And then here comes Fernando Alonso as well up the inside, and he has also made his way through into P2. And already we're in danger of falling off the podium. Sergio Perez on my outside with those soft compound tyres. Is he going to get the better traction? Yes, he is, and we've already been pushed off the podium. It's Lewis Hamilton-esque from us, as we can't convert a pole position even into a podium through the first couple of corners. And yes, we've fallen down into P4 already. Very disappointing, but it just looks like we don't have the pace around here. Struggling for grip or something like that. There seems to be another one of those tracks, a bit like Baku, where it just seems like the AI have superior traction out of every single corner compared to me. We'll see what it's like when we have a few more upgrades on the car in future seasons. But yeah, I predict that this is going to be a bit of a struggle. And now there is just one more corner to go. I don't think Tsunoda is going to pull this off unless I make a big mistake through the final corner. But we don't do that. And we're going to round the final corner now, come up to the line and cross it to take P14. in what can only be described as a pretty disappointing race. To go from pole to P14, you know, we were heroes on Saturday, but on Sunday we were zeros, unfortunately, and hopefully we'll be able to bounce back in the following race in Azerbaijan. I would have shown you more from the sprint, but nothing else really happened, you know, apart from that overtake from Joe. Because Sargent kind of held up everyone else behind me, it meant I didn't really actually end up getting overtaken by too many people, which is nice. It means we crossed the line to take P15, so yeah, good result for us. Given where we started, especially given the context of this being a track that I'm pretty terrible at. And yeah, hopefully we can continue to make up more positions when we go into the race tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see what we can do then. But, you know, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to work out that way because, as you can see, on lap 2, we have had a mechanical failure for the first time since Saudi Arabia last season. So how many races is that? What, 23 plus 2? So the first time in 25 races we have had a mechanical failure. That's a pretty solid reliability streak, to be honest. So I'm not actually too disappointed, especially considering this came at one of my weakest circuits that I wasn't expecting to score points at anyway. Yeah, I can't be too miffed about that because at the end of the day it resulted in me not having to drive what would be probably quite a painful race. But as we move through to lap 4, you can see I still managed to stay within DRS range of Pierre Gasly, and that is going to allow me to go for a bit of a send here on him maybe. He defends the inside, we switch back to the outside, we brake just in the nick of time, but we do go a little bit deep into the corner. We're going to be wheel to wheel. I'm going to get the better exit from the corner on the outside. We're still wheel to wheel as we come on the run through the final few corners into lap 5. Who's going to win out from this battle? Pierre Gasly seems to be keeping his foot in. He's going to try and go around the outside at the first corner. I'm still staying involved in this fight. Who's going to win out? Is it going to be me? Is it going to be Pierre? Who can say, as we still continue to go wheel to wheel, and eventually I do manage to get the position off him, but I doubt that's the last we're going to see of him over the course of this race. And unfortunately, I pushed just a tiny bit too hard, and yeah, that is us out of the session with a mechanical failure less than 3 laps before the end of the race. Even P4 I would have been happy with compared to this. This is immensely frustrating, and what it means is the likes of the Hasses and the Alpines, who, you know, were ahead of us in the championship anyway, some people who we were definitely fighting with over P6 in the Constructors' Championship, are going to break even further away from us now, and getting this P6 in the Constructors might be all but over as far as that dream is concerned. And rightfully, I'm a little bit annoyed. I don't want to talk to anyone right now because that is incredibly frustrating. There could be a safety car or anything like that that could massively change the outcome of the race. But we're almost ready to go here now as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and we've had a very good start compared to Russell, as I was almost certain we were going to do with him on those hard compound tyres, and we're challenging Magnussen and Perez into turn 1. However, I go a little bit deep, and that actually allows Russell to creep his way back through, and we're coming under pressure from Lando Norris now, and if I'm not careful, we're actually going to lose positions off the start, which is not what I wanted whatsoever. So already myself and Russell swapping places a couple times, and yeah, as we now come on the run down towards the Fairmont hairpin, we're going to be going wheel to wheel here, and I don't know who's going to win out on this one. I go deep into the hairpin once again, and actually what that allows me to do is stay ahead of Russell on the outside line. He didn't want to challenge up the inside, and that allows us to make our way into P4 once again, and we are up and looking very good in this Monaco Grand Prix. I really was in dire need of scoring some points, and a result like this is going to do wonders to help us close down our nearest championship rivals as we cross the line to take P4 in the Monaco Grand Prix, and I am very happy with that result. I can't stress enough how good that is, and to make matters even better, Dennis Hauger was driver of the day for an immense performance from him as well. So a great weekend for the team. So in the end, what I ended up doing, I'm going for a bit of a risk here. I am going to box 2 laps early, and we're going to try and utilize the fact that the undercut is very powerful in this year's game to hopefully overtake Perez, Alonso, and maybe even Russell and Verstappen as well. So yeah, that is potentially something that's going to help us overtake these guys, and then maybe we'll get overtaken again, maybe we won't, who knows. But at least it will put us in potentially a better position for the race. That's maybe me being a little bit optimistic, I don't know, but we'll see as we exit the pits now. We had a good stop on the hard compound tyres. We are going to try and pull off an undercut on Alonso, Russell, Verstappen and Perez. We'll see if it's possible. You can see 3 of them are into the pits now. I believe that's Verstappen, Russell and Alonso, and also Hulkenberg, but we were ahead of him anyway. We do come out ahead of Hulkenberg, but we don't come out ahead of any of the other cars that we were trying to overtake. So this was an absolutely failed undercut, if ever you've seen one. Perez is still running, so there is a chance that we might be able to undercut him still. But either way, this is not what I was hoping for whatsoever. And yeah, we do try and find a way past Alonso, but we just can't quite seem to do it. We're going to try and look up his inside here. Slams the door shut on us, and that is the end of my undercut hopes. And the best position I can possibly hope for now is going to be P4. If we round the final corner, and we are going to be taking P6. And it wasn't a great race, given that we started on pole, but given that our race pace still leaves a lot to be desired, I am not too displeased with that result. Another 8 points on the board. Maybe that will move us up in the Constructors' Championship. I am going to take that result and run with it. Actually, at this point, I think Hulkenberg had pitted because he was actually on a set of soft compound tyres. And you see that Leclerc and also Perez are both on the medium compound tyres, and that's interesting because it means that they're probably pitting again, and you can see they're super slow. I actually went into the back of Leclerc there before immediately exceeding track limits. He's really slow, so I think we need to clear him quickly, or he's going to push us back into the cars behind. And so I'm going to go for a very audacious dive bomb here, and somehow we managed to pull the move off, and we do stay on the track. So we managed to get our way up into what is P4, and I think Perez is going to pit again, so this will become P3, and the podium is still on. You know, George Russell 15 seconds down, and I don't know where this rapid pace has come from. We round the final corner, and through some absolute miracle from 7th on the grid, we're going to cross the line to win the Canadian Grand Prix. I do not understand where that pace come from at all, but I'm not going to complain. I think we did deserve that race win. We were the fastest person on track, simply put. The strategy working beautifully for us on this occasion. And I think we are going to be largely unfazed by what is going on with these guys, which is absolutely fantastic. This has been such an amazing sprint for us. We've made up 9 positions as we round the final corner, and we are going to cross the line to take P2. But actually, as we move now on to lap 29, you can see it is Lance Stroll that has made his way through into P4 and now into P3 as well as he overtakes us. And suddenly, it's him who I think we have to worry about. We're going to try and get him back with the DRS, but it's easier said than done as he's moving about a little bit over the racing line. And we're going to be wheel to wheel going into the braking zone of turn 3. And as we continue to go wheel to wheel, I think I've just about muscled him out. But he will have the DRS here, so it's not completely over just yet. I'm going to be burning a little bit of battery to try and keep him behind, and we do manage to keep him behind for the time being. But he definitely has stayed with us, so I don't know if we're going to be seeing even more pressure from him as I get a bit of a snap of oversteer there. Is that going to invite him back into the fight a little bit as we move into turn 6 and 7 and make a bit of contact there? And you can see that that we're still going wheel to wheel as we move through these following corners through turn 8. And yeah, this is a mega scrap coming out between me and Lance Stroll. He switches to my inside as we come into turns 9 and 10. We're going to be going wheel to wheel through turn 9, wheel to wheel still through turn 10, and just about I managed to hold on around the outside. He has to back out, and that is me still in P3. But goodness me, what an incredible whole lap battle between myself and Lance Stroll, basically. So yeah, a bit of a strange order, all things considered, but we're going to cross the line to take P3 and back-to-back podiums in Formula 1, our 3rd podium only of all time. And yeah, I am incredibly content with that. I believe it was George Russell who must have got P7 or something like that, worked his way through the field. What a race. As we come through Maggots and Beckett's, he doesn't put any pressure on us, but that honestly might be a bad thing, because if he put pressure on us and lost out, then maybe we would have been able to keep him behind. But now I've got to try and maintain a 2/10 gap when he's got DRS with no battery, and it's just impossible. And Sargent makes his way through up into P8, and that is going to be the end of our chances of getting P8. We're going to be coming home in P9 as we come through the Vale chicane, the final few corners, and yeah, that is going to be the end of the British Grand Prix for us. A disappointing weekend given what we've had the last couple times, but still a P9 finish, 2 solid points, and we will regroup and see if we can come back stronger in France next time out. But yeah, for the time being, I would have liked to have done a little bit more than what we did there, but we just didn't seem to have the pace on those tyres, unfortunately. Meanwhile, out in front, Valtteri Bottas commanding the race. He's got about a 10-second lead at the moment. However, today was just not his day, unfortunately, and he's got a mechanical failure of some kind. So that is going to mean that Oscar Piastri is going to inherit the lead of the Grand Prix, and at the moment he is on to win his first race. But not if I have anything to say about it. We are going to try and make the move up the inside as we get to the chicane with the DRS. We are a full car length ahead by the time we make it through the chicane, and we have taken the lead of the French Grand Prix. Commiserations to Valtteri Bottas and commiserations to Oscar Piastri, but we might be once again on to win a Grand Prix this season in some of the most suspicious circumstances I think you have ever seen. So yeah, that is a pretty good French Grand Prix by all accounts. Just make sure that we can burn the battery to make sure that we don't get overtaken by George Russell on the line. It's actually going to be pretty close. It was, yeah, about a 10th in it there, but we do hold on to P3 and another podium this season. Now as we make our way onto lap 21, Max Verstappen is hounding me. He is piling so much pressure on me right now. He's going to go for a move up the inside as we make our way into Sector 3, but he can't quite do it, and we managed to stick our way around the outside. But I don't think this is the last we're going to see of him. You know, as we go through this infamous hairpin where he had that spin and still won in real life, we are going to, you know, have to do everything we can. We're going to have to dump quite a lot of battery here to keep him behind. He's going to have the DRS. Is he going to be close enough to make a move by the end of this DRS zone? Let's see. He's gaining and gaining and gaining. He's moving to the inside. Is he going to dive up the inside here? He's thinking about going for the move. Is he going to hold on to it up the inside? We're going to be wheel to wheel going into the next DRS zone. You can see it's super close between the two of us. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be me? Is it going to be Verstappen? I'm stuck to the inside. He's going to try and go around the outside. We're still wheel to wheel, but I just about muscle him out, and that is us holding on to P3 still in this Grand Prix, and I'm going to do everything I can to keep him behind. It's going to be Verstappen, because that is the end of my race. There's a mechanical failure. I am fuming about this because we had a really good chance of picking up double digits worth of points again for God knows how many times this season we've done that, and the game just simply says no. I think that's our second failure of the season after Azerbaijan, if I remember correctly, and this one stings a lot more because we were actually in a competitive position, and I mean, who knows when the next time that's going to be. You know, the teams can always do a lot of development over the summer break, so we need to really have our wits about us, and yeah, this is an incredibly difficult pill to swallow, but we will be scoring no points at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Get to grips with the track. We're still braking too late, but we actually turn that into our advantage here at turn 1 on lap 3 as we try and overtake Oscar Piastri. We dive up the inside of him at the first corner, and now we're going wheel to wheel. I think we're about to go wheel to wheel in the wet up Radion. Indeed we are, which is, you know, it's a bold move, but yeah, we somehow managed to actually make the move stick, and we are up into P7 now, but I think Piastri is going to come back at us, and indeed he does, and we will have to make the move wait for another day before we are able to take that P7 on track. You know, the tyres have gone off a little bit. I think they're overheating as well. We're coming under pressure from Max Verstappen. I don't think there's any way we're going to be able to hold him behind as we go through Blanchimont, and indeed it's just not happening on this occasion. Verstappen makes his way into P9. We're down into P10. Is Perez going to size up a move on me as well? I don't know. He's going to try and go up the inside here at the bus stop chicane, and yeah, we just can't quite make it happen as we make our way across the line, and it's going to be P10 only, which is a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is, and hopefully we can build from that in the race. It's going to be difficult though, obviously, because we've got that 10th place grid penalty, but you know, in the dry maybe we will have a lot better pace than we had in the wet. Yeah, I really just don't get why we had absolutely zero pace here. You know, everything seemed to point towards the idea that we were going to be pretty good, but maybe my setup just wasn't right for this track, or maybe we just need more engine upgrades or something like that. I don't know, but either way, I'm going to get to the bottom of this because this was an unacceptable race as we round the final corner and cross the line to take a very, very poor P19 finish. It just needs to be better than that, you know. And even on our worst race, we should be finishing just outside of the points. Definitely not P19. So, yeah, we're going to have to regroup, figure out what happened there, and make sure it never, ever happens again. Pushing us out of the points. And, yeah, now we're going to have to try and do what we can to get back there if we possibly can. But we're down into P11 at the moment. It's Magnussen and Albon battling in front of us, and that's holding up all three of them, including Lando Norris as well, who we're now going to try and sweep around the outside through the banked hairpin, and we actually managed to make the move stick somehow. That's the downforce working well for us there, and we make our way back up into P10. So that is a very, very solid overtake coming out from us there. But it doesn't actually really mean anything, because if we ride on board now with Lando Norris, you can see that he is going a little bit slowly, and that's a giant puff of smoke coming out the back of his car. So I would have been up in that position again anyway in a very short span of time, because Lando Norris is out of the Grand Prix, and that promotes us back up into the points, back up into P10, and we'll see if we can hold on to it. It is going to be us finishing P13 in this race. It's not what I would have wanted at all. But you know, what can you do? We just have to deal with it. We just have to take what we've got and work with it. And yeah, hopefully we can bounce back stronger in Monza. We could be battling with them, who knows? But we'll see what we can do now as the lights come on and the lights go out. And we've had a very good getaway compared to the two cars in front of us, Stroll and Magnussen. We get ahead of Piastri as well. Norris gets blocked off by those cars in front, and we're able to get ahead of him. And not only him, but we're also challenging Esteban Ocon on the run down to turn 1. We brake quite late, and we got up the inside of Albon, Tsunoda, and Bottas. Can we get around the outside of Bottas here? We have to take to the exit of the track, because Tsunoda was trying to drive basically directly into the side of us. But yeah, by some miracle, we have made up 8 positions off of the start, and we are up into P7 now. I mean, the Ferrari is one of the worst cars on the grid at the moment, right? Second only to our car. And here's why our car is so bad. Because it's completely lacking in durability and reliability more than anything. And we've had another mechanical failure. Our 4th of the season. And yeah, this one isn't quite as hard to take as the ones in Miami and Hungary, because at least we weren't running in what could potentially have been a podium position, but we still were in a very strong position here. You know, we could have been scoring points at Monza, which is something that isn't easy to do, and that has kind of just been cruelly stripped away from us as a result of this mechanical failure. So yeah, that is difficult. It means we don't even get the chance to fight for points, you know, maybe with some safety cars and with some unreliability up front. Who knows what could have happened? But we'll never find out. We'll never know whether we were on the right strategy or these kinds of things. And we'll just have to try and come back stronger in Singapore. The tyres were really starting to go off. I think they were like in the 40s or 50s. I was thinking now might be a good time. We can box one lap early, and then maybe we can kind of go for, not an undercut, but we can kind of go for a strategy which will allow us to maybe break away from Norris and Alonso a little bit here. You can see Joe and Albon obviously quite far afield. I don't think I need to worry about them too much. But yeah, other drivers, I do think I may have to at least pay somewhat attention to. You know, like the Red Bulls and stuff. If they're going to potentially be going for an undercut, I think now might be a good idea to come in. So that's what I've done. And I'm going to be putting on the hard compound tyres to the end of the race. Will we be able to break away from Norris and Alonso? We will find out as we come out of the pits whether that proves to be the case or not. You can see that Fittipaldi is currently ahead of Verstappen. Goes to show that the Red Bulls are having an absolutely shocking race, really. But yeah, I mean, we'll see where these guys come out in just a second, because they are only a few seconds behind me. And as we move to the end of the lap now, you can see that everyone else, or not everyone else, but a lot of other cars are coming in, including Norris and Alonso. They both came in, and we're going to see what the gap is going to be like. It's definitely more than it was before. It was only a few tenths before we came into the pits, and now it is looking like it's going to be a lot more than that. The gap to Alonso is more than 5 seconds. It seems like Norris might have had a slow stop or something, because he's been jumped by both Fittipaldi and Verstappen. He's going to be very frustrated about that. And we've had a mechanical failure. We were absolutely leading this race. We were dominating this race. And the car has broken down again for the 3rd time in 5 races. I can't believe it. We were killing this race. We had killed this race. All we had to do was just maintain pace over Alonso for a few more laps, and everything would have been fine. We had 12 laps to go in this race, and all we had to do was just maintain the pace we were showing. He'd only brought it back by about 5/10 or so over the course of a few laps. There was no way he was catching me with the pace I was showing on those hard compound tyres. But the race is done. It's over for us, and our chance of getting a second win this season is fully out the door. I am absolutely devastated. I can't believe that. This was our chance to really wrap up P6 in the championship, and it's gone. But either way, here we are. And yeah, we're going to get ready to go now as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and we've gotten away pretty well. Stroll's had a terrible start, as has the pole sitter, Fernando Alonso. Bottas has already jumped him. I'm trying to get ahead of Max Verstappen and Alonso into P2, but I get squeezed out and pushed out, and that pushes us back down into P4. Stroll's lost the position to Perez. We go around the outside of Verstappen there, but he's going to try and go back around the outside of us. But we squeeze him out to the inside of the corner. He has to back out of it a little bit, and that is us through into P3. Alonso getting out of jail free a little bit there. He really was in trouble. It looked like at one point he might have gone down as far as P4, but fortunately he manages to just about recover it up into P2. So yes, he's lost the lead as Verstappen has gone off the track there. You can see behind. He's off track, and he is going to be plummeting to the back of the grid now. I think there's really only going to be one opportunity for him to get past us now, and that is going to be into the final chicane. You can see he's all over the back of me. 2/10 is the gap. I'm going to be burning basically all the battery I have now. There's no incentive not to burn any less of it than all of the battery I've got. He's going to try and get me into 130R, is he? Not quite. We managed to go around the outside of him, and yeah, we're going to hold on to this, I think. He's not going to challenge me into the chicane. He is very close, though. If he gets a good run, then maybe he could out-drag me to the line, but it doesn't look like he's done that. He's a little bit too far back, and whilst this was a chaotic finish, we are going to cross the line to take P7 and our first points since France. Goodness me, what a crazy race that was, especially towards the end. But we have managed to finally break the curse, and hopefully we can start getting some more solid points finishes in the race to come. But Leclerc is very close at this point. He's within 2/10 of me. He does fall a little bit further out as we get through the hairpin, but he's going to be closing me down quite a lot. And there is George Russell. He's slowed down quite a lot. He's out of fuel. He's out of fuel. Can we get it before the line? No, we can't, but we're super close. And wow, I really thought for a second there that might have been a sprint victory for me, but to no avail, unfortunately. George Russell running out of fuel right before the line there, it seems. And wow, what a crazy ending to that sprint. Verstappen is 5 seconds down on me. I don't think anything is going to take this P2 away from me now, unless there is some crazy shenanigans or a mechanical failure. How do you time that so well? I can't believe it. This is the 4th time we have been running in a strong position in the last 5 races that a mechanical failure has struck us. This is another one of those things like in last year's game. I simply refuse to believe that this is a coincidence. We've only had 6 mechanical failures this season, and 5 of them have come when we were running looking like we might finish in a really strong position for the track we were racing at. The only time that one came in a track I didn't care about was Baku, but Miami was bullshit. Hungary was ridiculous. Monza was ridiculous. Singapore was ridiculous, and now this as well is ridiculous. I can't believe it. I can't believe that this has happened. I am furious. I am fuming. I can't believe it. You know, we invest in these durability upgrades. We do everything we can, and somehow it's still not enough. And it just means we're going to have to take more grid penalties later on. And it means that Bottas is actually pretty close to us now. So we're going to have to be very careful here. I'm going to be burning quite a lot of battery on the run down to the next corner at the end of this DRS zone. But Bottas will, of course, have the DRS. It was only a VSC. It wasn't a full safety car, which means they don't disable DRS. And you can see that we are going wheel to wheel with him. Have I broken just a tad too late there? I'm not sure. Looks like we're just about keeping our wheel in. And now we're going to be going up the inside of him to the following corner. Is he going to be able to make the move stick, or are we going to be able to hold on to this position? I don't know. He's piling a lot more pressure on us. We're still wheel to wheel through the next corner. And it means I get a little bit of a better exit here, but he's going to stay in the fight. I'm going to have to give him a little bit of room going around this long right-hander. And you can see that we are still wheel to wheel. We make a bit of contact there. Maybe I didn't give enough room. I'm not sure. That was a big collision. I actually think I'm the one that got a warning for that in the end. We do have DRS here, which is going to be nice. It means that we're going to be able to hopefully make the move on him. But you can see that was an absolute joke of an exit. for Valtteri Bottas there. He just got away. I think I even said to myself at the time, I was like, are you kidding me that he got that kind of exit? But we brake nice and late, and we brake a little bit too late, in fact, for the following corner. We've gone off the track, and that has allowed not only Bottas to make his way through on us, but also Lando Norris is going to be able to get ahead here, and that is not what I wanted to see right now, and that is us down into P3. A couple laps later, however, and you can see that we still haven't caught up with him, and I think that maybe we're just going to have to settle for this P2, or it's happened again. How many races is this now where this has happened? This is actually ridiculous. This is, I think, the 6th time now in about 8 races or something like that we have suffered a mechanical failure. This cannot keep happening. This is unbelievable. They just can't seem to keep the car working for a whole season, clearly, and I think we're just going to keep having failure after failure after failure after failure, because I just don't know what to do. You know, we replace the parts, we take the grid penalties, we have good results, and then it's still not enough. You know, it's infuriating. However, as you can see, it didn't last much longer after that. This was on the following lap, lap 14, the car completely just cut out. It actually counted as a terminal damage failure rather than a mechanical failure, I guess, because it was a failure of my own design. However, I did try doing a flashback just to see what it would do, and well, they wouldn't let me flashback. So my only choice really was to either restart the session, which wouldn't have made a difference because I can't change the component, or to retire from the session, which is what we're going to have to do, unfortunately. Yeah, we round the final corner now, and as we come on the run down to the finish line, I've got 36% worth of battery to burn on the way to the line, but has Bottas got more? And crucially, is the DRS going to be enough to carry him 3/10 over these last few meters? It's going to be very, very close here, but he's just going to get ahead before the finish line. There's got to be less than a 10th in that. I was already celebrating across the line, and it's not even going to count for anything because it was actually a P2. It's also the sprint, so it doesn't matter necessarily too much. It's driver of the day for the man who went from P5 to P1, and we only walk away with 7 points on this occasion. But we will see. There is still an absolute mountain for us to climb, and things are not going to be easier if we can't hold on to P1 here in the Brazilian Grand Prix. We're coming under a lot of pressure from Fernando Alonso right now. You can see he's moving to the outside, and by the time we get to the corner, he is a very long way ahead of me, and there is no way for me to fight that back. We're going to try and fight him back, going through here into the DRS zone if we possibly can, and yeah, you can see that we managed to stay with him pretty well. We're only a couple tenths behind him. Should be a pretty trivial overtake with the DRS, I imagine, but he's so fast in a straight line compared to us. That is the power of an upgraded car versus a non-upgraded car. You can see we've basically got nothing going for us apart from our aero package, but there's one team on the grid last time I checked who are better than us in the aero department as well, and that is Aston Martin. So there's basically no way that we are on even footing with him whatsoever, but I go for my signature move, the one I went for on Leclerc a little bit earlier on in the sprint as well, and it just about pays off for us on this occasion, and that allows us to make our way back up into P1 in this Brazilian Grand Prix. But there are still almost 30 laps left to go, and it is still a very, very long way to the checkered flag, and it is going to be an immense amount of pressure. Rounding the final few corners now into the last DRS zone, we have saved up plenty of battery. It's not going to be an issue. We've got fuel, we've got the tyres to get to the end. Everything is fine and dandy. And for the first time since the Canadian Grand Prix this year, we're going to cross the line to take victory. And it feels very sweet right now, especially knowing what's on the line. You can't make things more poetic than this. You know, we've had such a torrid run of form. You know, victories robbed from us, podiums robbed from us, and finally we get the win. Now we've just got one last lap to try and hold him off for, really. Lap 32. Are we going to be able to? Are we going to be able to keep him behind for lap 33? You can see he's really closing me down this time, and at this point I was firmly ready to just surrender to him, but I thought I'll give it a go anyway, and we dive back round the outside. I don't know how we've managed to keep him behind one more time, but we have, and we actually, in the confusion, go a little bit deep into the following corner, and that is going to allow him to maybe mount an attack back on us into the next DRS zone. That said, though, he is falling away from us a little bit, and I think we're going to be able to hold him off here, but still, this is absolutely chaotic right now. This is probably one of the most stressful ends to a Grand Prix I have ever had. Just relentless lap after lap attacks from Lando Norris. He wants this victory, but I want this victory as well. I need this victory for the Constructors' Championship. I know that probably McLaren want to try and catch Ferrari in the Constructors as well, and with McLaren only having one car scoring points. But I think Ferrari actually having both. You know, Sainz was obviously eliminated in Q2, but he's worked his way back into 4th. Meanwhile, Leclerc, I believe, is in 9th. So McLaren should still be outscoring Ferrari here regardless. But I don't know if it'd be enough to jump them in the Constructors' standings. So, yeah, but I mean, I don't really care about them. I've got to focus on myself first and foremost. And if we don't finish P6 in the Constructors, we're not going to get that sponsorship bonus. We round the final corner. We just have to hold Lando Norris off through the start of the DRS zone, and we manage it. The gap is very small, but we're going to take our 3rd victory of the season, our 2nd in a row here, and now the pressure is off a little bit here. We just need to get P5 in Las Vegas, and that will be enough for us to hold on to P6 in the Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, now on lap 10, I am being pressured quite significantly by Bottas and Ocon. They've both got DRS, and I wouldn't be surprised if both of them went for an overtake on me here. Let's see, what do they do? Valtteri Bottas moves to the inside. Where's Esteban Ocon going to go? He's going to go to the outside with 3 wide coming down into the final couple of corners, and by the time we get there, they're actually wheel to wheel. That allows me to try and fight back at them a little bit, but I am down into P5. But I do manage to get back ahead of Esteban Ocon, even if it is only momentarily. We're wheel to wheel now, going into this final corner before we cross the line. And yeah, it's going to be wheel to wheel into turn 1. I'm going to have to brake nice and early, and I actually had to get out of the move there. Otherwise, I was going to go sailing into the back of the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. So I didn't end up doing that. But what Ocon's maneuvers there meant was that Valtteri Bottas actually had a compromised run through that corner. So we tried to put a bit of pressure on him. A bit of a street circuit master, actually, Esteban Ocon. You know, he obviously has had that podium in Jeddah. Oh, no, actually, no, he didn't have a podium there. He very nearly had a podium in Jeddah. He's had a podium in Monaco, of course. He tends to do quite well in Baku. I think, you know, this guy's a bit underrated on street circuits, personally, as he crosses the line to take P3, and we're going to cross the line to take P4, and that means that we are going to get the $9 million sponsorship bonus from that sponsorship obligation, finishing P6 in the Constructors' Championship. We get the extra prize money that goes from finishing there as well, and I am extremely content with that.
They are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion.
What is up, everyone? Thank you so much for sticking with me through that recap. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a good picture of what happened in Season 2 of our My Team Career Mode now. We've got a few things here to wrap up first, and then we are going to get into our most favorite part of the season, which is the contract renewals, remaking the calendar, and then showing off our new livery for Season 3. I am very excited. I'm hoping that we will be able to have an even stronger season than we had in Season 2. You know, things were very up and down over the course of Season 2. We came out the blocks firing, and then throughout the midpoint of the season, we really struggled for a while. But towards the end of the season, we really picked things up. And yeah, it meant that we were able to crawl back to a P6 finish in the Constructors' Championship, which is exactly what I wanted. It means we're going to be getting $9 million from the sponsors, as well as a bit more prize money than we would have got otherwise. And so I reckon that there's going to be a good chance for us to do, you know, 2, maybe 3 facility upgrades now. We have a few more things to do first. We got to get some more upgrades on the car. We're focusing durability, of course, because that is where we have struggled so many times. Contract renewal, I think you guys knew that this was coming, but if you didn't, we are going to re-sign Dennis Hauger. I was pretty impressed with him at multiple times during the season. Of course, he scored a point, and he also had a number of Q2 appearances and some strong performances. I was very happy with him generally, and he came to us with no real issues once again. So, Season 3, my teammate will be Hauger again, and then who knows beyond that? I guess we will we'll wait and see. But yeah, that is basically all for this season now. We just had a few more events to polish off, just, you know, get some extra cash coming in, things like that. Fernando Alonso, of course, has retired, but you'll have to wait until next video to find out who is going to be replacing him, and likewise what kind of chain reaction that might set off. I'm going to hopefully go for these resource point generation upgrades to go straight to Spec 3 on some of these facilities. And what that means is that we can't actually afford to do any of them at the moment, but I'm hoping we'll be able to at least do 2 of them going into the next season. I guess we'll find out. I think we need about $28 million to be able to do that, so it's going to be fairly expensive, but I think there's going to be a chance. We obviously get the big acclaim boost that comes with finishing a season both on the driver and team side. Here's the big one. How much cash are we getting? $9.3 million from the sponsorship, $7 million in prize money. That is $16 million coming our way to take us to a total of $29 million in the bank, and definitely we'll be able to afford a couple of facility upgrades now. You can see that we finished 5th in the championship overall with 186 points, 9 poles and 3 wins. Hauger was last in the championship with just 1 point, but I think he gave a pretty good account of himself anyway, and I'm hoping to see him make even more progress over the course of this next season. Now we get into the big one, the calendar. We're adding back Imola, Mexico, and Vegas, and then we're taking out Azerbaijan, Qatar, and one more track I decided was going to be Spain. So yeah, those are the tracks that are going to be gone for the next season, and yeah, we're bringing in the ones that were missing for the previous season. So we'll be ending at Abu Dhabi once again. This time we're going to go for a slightly loftier bonus, one we met this season, but they are going to be giving us a larger amount of cash. We have to get 100 Constructors Championship points. Feasible for sure. You know, it was achieved in the season just gone, and I feel like it should be even easier than that to do in the following season. But we get more money for it, so that's the rationale. I thought about signing with my favourites, Mercedes, but in the end I decided to take the Renault powertrain once again. And here are our suits and outfits for the next season. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe. We've got the Bahrain Grand Prix coming up very soon, and hopefully I will see you for Season 3.